Let's have a sesh on Handy's culture. So in 1976, Charles Handy came up with the concept that there are 4 types of organisational cultures. Now, when we're thinking about organisational cultures, we're thinking about what the ethos is of the business. That might be how power and influence is distributed, or it could be by what the staff motivations are. Now, there are 4 types of organisational cultures we need to be aware of: power culture, role culture, task culture, and people or person culture. Let's go through the first one, power culture. So power culture is simply that decisions will be made by a select few, or even possibly one key person. So all decisions will be made by that group of people, which is why it's very closely associated with centralised structures. Now, it's very likely in this situation that employees will report to these key people and that they will seek guidance from them, maybe even confirmation from them that they're doing a good job. Why it's good? Well, it may lead to quick decision making because you only have one or a few people that are making those decisions. However, the problem could be in a fast growing or a rapid growing business that communications might break down in that case, because if the business is growing fast and you've only got one person that's making those decisions, how can they possibly make all the decisions required for a rapid growing business? Now, examples of where you may see this, it's going to be likely where you have a founder with a strong personality. But that might not be necessarily just a small family-run business. It could be a large business. It could be someone like Elon at Tesla. Now, in terms of other models that you might want to loop into power culture, Griner's model, you could think about the first creativity phase. We know that ends with a leadership crisis, but maybe that suits this type of model. Now, going over to role culture is when you have formalised rules and regulations, formalised roles, jobs, procedures that you must follow. And it's very much in fit with a hierarchical structure. And the fact that employees' power comes from their role, not from their personality. Might suit a stable environment, likely corporations that are of medium or large size. But the key is stability. The disadvantages of a role culture is that it might lead to a silo mentality, because it might be that you are in your role and you simply look to just do your role for your department within the hierarchical structure. And it might be that you're in a marketing department and all you think about is the marketing department. You don't look to help the operations department or the HR department in your decisions. And if you have this silo mentality, then you have no cross-department communication. That can be an issue. So it makes sense in stable environments, perhaps banks, perhaps insurance companies. However, I'm very fascinated in the future as we get these fintech firms for banks and we get insurtech, whether in 10 years or so, whether role culture will still exist in those types of industries, but it does at the moment. In terms of looping in anything else into role culture, you could think about Hofstede, and you could think about the fact that it would suit a country with a high UAI. So you'll think about uncertainty avoidance there. And you probably, if you have a role culture, it makes sense for someone where you want no ambiguity. So clearly a high UAI. More details on Hofstede, click the card up there. Now with task culture, the focus is on specific tasks or projects. So the focus of the ethos, the business, is on specific projects and tasks within them. And the individuals will be brought in from various departments to try and fix the issues within each of those tasks and projects. So clearly, the opposite to role culture is that you're going to get cross-functional communication. That's a great thing. Cost-wise, though, could be a problem. And it could also lead to confusion, because it's very commonly associated that task culture and matrix structures go together when you plug in that side channel of management, and that sometimes leads to the fact that employees might have multiple managers. Commonly see this in design and advertising agencies. In terms of where it might fit into other models, well, you tend to be very flexible within a task culture, and so it might be a more effective response to any strategic drift. If you fear there's going to be strategic drift because the environment is changing, then having a flexible task culture might be a way to overcome that. But the last one to look at is people or person culture. People or person culture is that workers have freedom to act autonomously, to act independently in their role. The reason why is because they're likely to have specialist skills or technical skills in a particular area, which is why it's common in accounting and legal practice that you might be a specialist in a certain form of accounting or form of law. This is slightly different to power culture, because power culture is about one or a select few of people, whether people or person culture is the fact that you have a collection of individuals and each individual has a specialist skill, which is why they have that freedom in their decision making, they have that autonomy. Now it's going to make sense because you possibly have the best person for each particular role in your organisation, because they are absolute specialists in that certain area. But it's possible that they're acting self-interest because they are the absolute don in that particular area, and they might not think about the rest of the business. Also, they might have a short-termist attitude. So I hope that helps on Handy's cultures, and I'll see you at the next session.